Hey, what's happening, YouTube world? I'm going to try to do a video like this every day. I'm just going to ramble on for a few minutes. Tell you what I got going on in the shop today. That right there is my iMac 27. It's a 2011 A1312. It is a fantastic iMac. I love that thing. I have upgraded it. In fact, let me take you over there so you can see what I've done to it. The hard drive, I have put in a 2 terabyte SSD and I upgraded the RAM. And currently I have the this is the LCD inverter board, and that is out because I had a customer come in and they wanted to find out if we could fix their Mac, same exact model, because of a black screen issue. And so I figured it could be that inverter board. These guys, they go bad. They're not too bad. They're not too expensive. They're like 50, 60 bucks. And right now, I put in, because I didn't have the part in stock and I didn't want to order it, so I took mine out of there and then swapped it out. So you can't see it, but down there in the shop, Nyan Cat is running on there, and it has yet to fail. It's been running for about an hour yet. Before it would warm up, right? It would run for a bit, and then the screen would go black, but I could still see on the screen. I could still see the images of the boxes and things. I could see my mouse moving around, and I could hear noises coming out of the computer, which told me it was either a backlight in the LCD or this guy. So here's to hoping that it actually fixes it and works. The other thing we got hard drives failing left and right. We're trying to upgrade everybody now to SSD technology. That is something that we've been putting a lot of emphasis on and upselling, because they just don't fail as often, and they're faster, and they're just a better product. Yeah, they're expensive, but you get a way better experience using that versus the old mechanical hard disks. And we actually lost a client about last month where they had a server fail. We had a good backup of the server, but it had been backing up corrupted data, and you know, the backups were only retained for 7 days or 10 days. That's all they had as far as the storage went, so that's what we could store. Well, that drive took more than 10 days to fail. I mean, it was failing intermittently, and the server was running slow, and the SQL database was suffering. We didn't know it. And so the customer came back and said, "It's your fault. It's your fault, Brian, because, you know, you didn't retain 6 months of backups." And then I just showed him the email that said, "Well, here's where you actually turned down my invoice or my estimate for a much better and bigger quality backup system about a year ago." And so I don't see how this is my fault. And then I got another email back that said, "Well, we're not going to place any blame on you or anything, but we're just still going to move on away from your service." And I felt okay about it. I mean, you know, we're busy enough. I hate losing customers. I wish I could keep them, but you know, we did what we could. It is what it is. We get blamed for a lot of crap. I use this analogy all the time. So when you work on someone's computer, let's just say you're thinking about starting an IT company, or let's just say a computer repair business. If you fix one thing, let's just say their mouse doesn't work. They bring it to you, you find out Windows 10 blew out the drivers, right? Gone, their touchpad doesn't work on their laptop. You get in there, you hook up a USB mouse, you figure it out, you figure out it's a driver, it was an update, whatever. You put that driver back in there. You bill them for the work you did, and then they take it home. All right? 4 days later, they get a pop-up on their screen, they click on it, and they get a virus infection. Guess whose fault that is? That's your fault. Even though it's not your fault, that's your fault. And So you have to mitigate that at some point. So you have to be kind of confident when customers come back to you and say, well, do you think is this just a coincidence? I was just in here and you were working on my touchpad and all of a sudden I've got pornography popping up on my screen. That's when we take their internet history and print it out and say, well, see, this is in fact the moment you got infected, was when you were searching Pornhub or RedTube or whatever it is. So be prepared for that baloney. It goes on all the time. It's like when you take your car into the mechanic, you get a tire fixed and then the engine blows up. I mean, you can't blame the mechanic for the engine blowing up, although I'm sure some mechanics get blamed for that. So anyhow, it's still worth doing this work. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy the work, but you know, over doing this now, owning my own company for 12 years, doing this job for 20, I now know that, you know, you have to put up with a lot of baloney. So I will let you know as soon as I know if the inverter board actually fixed the iMac black screen issue, and if it did, then yay, awesome. I'll order another one and throw it into my machine next week. I don't use that machine all that often. I love that computer. Can I just tell you why I love that computer? I want to tell you why. In this machine was built in this era. This machine was built by Steve Jobs, built and designed around that time where Steve Jobs was still working, I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Steve Jobs was still alive in 2011. I think. Yeah, he was. And you can tell the quality difference. And you can work on this thing without breaking the glass. A lot of the new ones now, they have an adhesive that goes around the outside. You gotta warm it up and then you can pry the thing off, and a lot of times you can break that glass when you try to work on it. And this one you can use a suction cup. I just suction cup it on there. If you look back in my video history, you'll see that I've done a lot of work on these types of machines, and they're great. So and they're upgradable. I love that. They're upgradable. They work just great. And this is an i5. It's not even that fast of a machine. It's just fantastic though. The user interface is great. Now I do still use PC. I have my daily driver here, which is a custom built MSI based machine with 16 gigs of RAM and whatever else in it, but it doesn't have an SSD in it, so I don't bother with that. But I like the SSD in this because it boots up 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and it's fantastic. And so I will keep fixing that as long as I can find used parts on eBay. I will keep fixing it and keep running it because I love it. In fact, I have 3 of them. I'm about to acquire a 4th one. I have 2 here in the shop. I use it as a front cash register, and then this one here, and then I have 1 in my home office, and then I'm putting a 2nd one in my home office so that I have 2 at home as well because I love them that much. All right, for those of you, and it is very small amounts of people who have commented on my last video or last couple of videos, thank you. That is the encouragement that I need to continue making this content. So if you got this far in this video and you really liked it, then write me a comment and tell me that I should continue or not continue, and I'll argue with you about why I should continue, because you know, I need a little bit of encouragement and I appreciate it. So anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.